closest to both the bathroom and the shower, and I don't have to go through the living room, so I don't have to see anyone's face. Not having to see anyone's face, she must have meant me, but since she's pregnant, I bit my tongue and didn't say anything harsh. Look, I want you out of this house. You've been nothing but trouble, not working and just leeching off us. You're the worst. I don't recall ever mistreating my daughter-in-law or not working and leeching off anyone. That's it, I've had it. This house is in my name, it's my house. My oldest son and his wife will move in, so get out. We'll take care of the mortgage of $1,400. All right, thinking even though it's $5,400. I agreed readily and decided to leave. Take the dog with you. Of course. Leaving Mary in such a hazardous home was out of the question. I feel bad for Ryan, but I thought a devil of a wife had arrived. Cursing, arriving at our home, I've been observing what her real intentions were. Just as I thought, Anna turned out to be truly malicious. Tim was too, surprisingly naive to be deceived by Anna, which shocked me. I know, I'm not young anymore, and I've changed since those days. Still, I thought that's how you age together. Just like that home. Being fickle is a loss. Irresponsible you, who can't finish anything to the end, maybe endless torment fits you. Especially since your favorite young devil will be there with you. Both of you may as well fall into hell together. My name is Holly, a 58-year-old. I met Tim, my husband 6 years younger than me, about 30 years ago through an acquaintance. At the time, I was 28, and Tim was 22. Fresh out of college and in his first year of work, Tim was incredibly bright to me. Tim, who liked older women, was good at pampering but also had a surprisingly gentlemanly and mature side, which made me take a liking to him. It seems Tim felt the same, and after 6 months of dating, we got married. Thinking about expanding our family and our future, we decided to build a house. Tim always said, it's best to build a house while we're young. True, considering the mortgage, younger is better. However, it was difficult to secure a home loan with Tim's credit just starting his first job. I could have used my credit, but Tim's pride insisted on having the house in his name. Eventually, after Tim worked diligently for a year and built a good credit history, we were able to get a loan and build our house. I also worked, saving diligently for our home. Working for our own house didn't feel like a chore. Also, at Tim's strong request, we decided to manage our finances separately after marriage. We opened a joint account for living expenses, each contributing a set amount. Truly, a shared asset of the marriage, from which we'd draw for groceries and utilities. Even after the house was built, we agreed to split the mortgage payment each month. Even deciding on these couples' rules felt exciting because of our newlywed status. A year after our marriage, we joyfully moved into our long-awaited home. The brand new house, which we were particular about in its layout, filled our hearts to the brim. A year after the house was built, we were blessed with our first son Ryan, and 3 years later, with our second son Mark. I felt an immense happiness. Now, 30 years after our marriage, Ryan has married and moved out. With Mark also starting his own life, the spacious house was left to just the two of us. Still, I intended to enjoy the slow, peaceful times with my husband in this house. After the kids left, Tim started talking about getting a dog. Probably to distract from the loneliness, though I suspect there were other reasons. Since it became just the two of us, Tim started treating me harshly. Waking up to your face first thing in the morning is just tiresome. He would say such things without a care. Getting older is something we both have to deal with, he said, but he wouldn't accept it, adding, you used to look so beautiful being older, but I guess aging hits you faster than me, and that's just off-putting. Then he'd just retreat to his room immediately. Essentially, he wanted a dog because he didn't want to face me. I like animals, so I wasn't opposed to getting one. Tim goes to work at the office, but since I've always worked from home, I can watch the dog during the day. My worry is whether Tim can really take care of it responsibly until the end. When we built this house, Tim said, we're gonna keep it as shiny as new forever. At first, he really put effort into cleaning and maintaining the house daily. But within a month, he got bored and said, "Houses age the more you live in them. Keeping it real is best," and stopped using the expensive pressure washer and other tools we bought for maintenance. Also, when our first son, Ryan, was born, he was all enthusiastic about being in charge of bathing him, saying, "Bath time is my job. Don't you bathe him until I get home." But after the first week, he'd just say he was too tired and go to sleep. He never bathed Ryan again. With our second son, Mark, I ended up taking care of everything from the start. Tim, without doing anything himself, would criticize from the sidelines, "Aren't you wiping him properly? Doesn't he need more moisturizer?" And when I asked him to watch the kids on weekends, he'd say, "Kids are better off being cared for by their mom, right?" and then take a nap himself. Until now, I've just accepted cleaning and childcare as my sole responsibilities because that's supposedly women's work. However, Tim stopped contributing to our joint account years ago. He hasn't put in money for the monthly living expenses, nor for the mortgage. The first month he missed a payment, he said he was broke because of friends' weddings and asked for a pass just for that month, which I agreed to. But then it happened again the next month, and the month after. We couldn't let the mortgage payments slide, so I ended up covering them with my money. Yes, Tim's character is such that he can't keep up with cleaning, childcare, or even his financial obligations. I was worried whether he could properly take care of a dog. I only see a future where I'm taking care of everything. Still, if getting a dog keeps our relationship smooth, I was willing to welcome one into our home. We ended up getting a female puppy, half a year old. Tim fell in love with her at first sight at the pet shop. I was hesitant about getting a puppy, considering the lifespan of dogs and our future. There's a chance we might pass away before the dog does. Then she'd be left all alone. But this worry was alleviated knowing that, if anything happened to us, our sons would take care of her. So, we welcomed her into our family. We named her Mary. When Mary first arrived, she brought smiles to us. Watching her play so hard with her tiny body never got boring. Tim seemed happy taking care of her, feeding her, and brushing her. I thought maybe this time Tim would be able to take care of her without issues. One day, while I was working in my room, I heard Mary barking from the other side of the door. It was 7 p.m., and Tim, who's usually home by then, hadn't returned. So, I fed Mary in Tim's place. But from that day on, similar situations started occurring more frequently. When I casually mentioned to Tim that he seemed to be coming home late recently and that Mary was getting lonely, he said, "We've got a new person at work. I've been showing the ropes. So, you'll have to take care of Mary for a while." I expected it, but it happened sooner than I thought. I assumed he'd at least take care of her until she was a grown dog. But even if there's a new person at work, would an older employee like Tim really need to do the direct training? My suspicion was confirmed when, while Tim was in the restroom, a notification popped up on his smartphone saying, "Thanks for the other day. Let's go out for dinner again soon." It turned out his mentoring was outside of work. The message implied it was from a much younger woman. I sighed and hugged Mary tightly. Since Tim stopped taking care of Mary, she's become much more attached to me. It seems Tim isn't amused by this. On weekends, when he tries to play ball with her, Mary doesn't respond to his invites. Instead, she climbs onto my lap, which makes him exclaim, "Who do you think raised you?" in anger. I've been the one taking care of her these past few months. So, it's natural she'd be more attached to me, but I don't say this to Tim. It's the same with the kids. If anything, they seem to prefer me over Tim. Especially Ryan, who's always been a mama's boy, following me around since he was little. If I disappeared from his sight, he'd start crying loudly, calling out for me, which made me worry about his overly gentle and timid nature. But now that he's married, I guess he's turned out just fine. Just as I was thinking about this, my phone rang. It was a call from Anna, Ryan's wife. "Hello? Actually, I'm pregnant. So, could I stay at your place for a while?" The sudden news surprised me, but the thought of having a grandchild was delightful. Moreover, Ryan is often away from home due to his long-haul trucking job. I suggested that she should come over with Ryan once he's back so we can discuss it together. I thought I heard her say something on the other end, but she cheerfully responded, "Okay, I understand. I'll visit soon," making me think I must have misheard. The weekend came, and Ryan and Anna visited our home together. I was surprised by how slim Anna looked, hardly appearing pregnant. "It's still early, so my belly is small. Don't stare, it's creepy." Ryan chided her for her choice of words, but Anna remained aloof. I had met Anna when she and Ryan were getting married, but she didn't seem like this before. Assuming she must be irritable from the pregnancy, I decided to avoid saying anything that might upset her. Eventually, Tim joined us in the living room, clearly thrilled by Anna's youthful and stylish appearance, making unnecessary comparisons to his old-fashioned wife. Anna laughed it off, saying, "Oh, stop it. I'm sure your wife was better when she was younger too, right?" Ryan looked uncomfortable and sweaty next to her. All I could do was sigh. Ryan, unable to be at home often, probably finds it difficult to assert himself with Anna. Moreover, it seems his current job was secured through one of Anna's connections. Based on her desire for him to earn more, prompting a career change after their marriage. "Sorry, Mom. Since I can hardly be at home, could you take care of Anna for a bit?" Despite my reservations about Anna, I couldn't refuse my dear son's request. Tim, eager for her to stay, blurted out, "Why not start tonight?" So, we agreed to welcome Anna into our home starting the following week. With a look of regret, Ryan hopped back into his truck for another long haul. Upon arriving, Anna immediately claimed the guest room as her own, stating, "It's closest to the bathroom and bath, and I don't have to see anyone if I don't walk through the living room." I swallowed my words, understanding she must be referring to avoiding me, yet I refrained from confronting her since she was pregnant. However, Anna seemed to be out late at night despite her condition, returning home around the last train. When I expressed my concern, she retorted, "Can you not? Pregnant women get stressed, you know," dismissing me. She wouldn't lift a finger for any household chores, expecting me to clean even the room she occupied. Tim excused her behavior, insisting she needs to rest, being pregnant and all. One day, Anna announced she'd be hospitalized for about 2 weeks for a checkup and asked for a significant sum of money, forbidding visits because the nurses will take care of everything. Worried about the baby's health, I complied, despite my concerns for Anna and the unborn child. After a tense 2 weeks, Anna returned from the hospital, noticeably tanner. "Did you get a tan, Anna?" I asked casually, only for her to accuse me of being insensitive about pregnancy-related skin changes. Deciding it was best to remain silent, I was shocked when she declared her dislike for dogs and kicked Mary, leading us to avoid Anna as much as possible. 3 months since Anna's arrival, I've confined myself to my room, working and avoiding any interaction with her. I've been bringing Mary's food and litter to this room so she doesn't have to interact with Anna. I prepare meals early in the morning while both Tim and Anna are still asleep. In the evening, when Anna goes out, I take the opportunity to clean the room and do the laundry. If Anna needs anything, she calls for me, so I avoid her otherwise. One day, when I happened to go to the living room during the day, Anna was cheerfully applying nail polish. Having had trouble with the smell of nail polish when I was pregnant with Ryan, I asked Anna out of simple curiosity, "Are you okay with morning sickness and all?" My question seemed to annoy Anna, who glared at me and then yelled towards Tim in the bathroom, "Hey! Your wife is forcing me to work, saying I don't have morning sickness." Hearing Anna's voice, Tim rushed from the bathroom and berated me, "What are you saying, you awful woman? How can you not understand the difficulties of a pregnant woman, being a woman yourself?" Another time, I caught Anna smoking under the kitchen vent. Reacting instantly, I snatched the cigarette from her. Anna clicked her tongue, looked at me, and dramatically collapsed, yelling, "Ouch! Please stop it! Forgive me!" With the living room window open, neighbors gathered around hearing Anna's cries. I apologized, saying it's nothing, and sent them away while Anna gave me a faint smile. Ryan comes home every 2 weeks, and during his visits, Anna behaves incredibly meekly. She hides her devilish side only for the days Ryan is home, and once he leaves for work, her true colors show again. Watching Anna's behavior makes me wonder what Ryan saw in her. And I also question what I saw in Tim, who has now become a puppet to his daughter-in-law. Tim used to work hard with the dream of building a house in his name. He was so earnest and bright back then. It's been 30 years since our dream of building a house came true and we had children. Now, I'm the one paying off the mortgage for this house. Moreover, Tim has stopped contributing to our joint account, leaving me to cover all living expenses. Does he even realize this? Does he have the audacity to lord over me knowing all this? As I was stroking Mary on my bed, pondering these thoughts, a message arrived on my smartphone from Tim. He demanded I come to the living room immediately. Reluctantly, I placed Mary in her cage in the corner of the room and headed to the living room, half wishing he would propose a divorce. Upon arrival, I found Tim and Anna seated on the sofa, using my favorite cups and saucers for tea. They had used the teapot incorrectly, not utilizing the tea strainer, leaving the pot and their cups filled with tea leaves. Still, they seemed to be enjoying the ambience, so I said nothing. "Let me cut to the chase," Tim began. I wondered if he truly understood what that meant as he glared at me, seeing my nonchalant expression. "Listen, I want you out of this house. You don't work, and just leech off us. You're the worst. Did you know that Anna is a model? She's planning to continue working even after giving birth. She's commendable, unlike you who's not independent. I've had enough. This house is in my name, and it's my house. I'm going to live with Ryan and his wife. We'll take care of the $1,400 mortgage. I've never bullied anyone, nor have I lived off anyone without working. Anna being a model or whatever was frankly irrelevant to me. If he truly believed I wasn't independent, he was sorely mistaken. There were many things I wanted to contest in Tim's speech, but what puzzled me the most was his mention of a $1,400 mortgage. It seemed he thought that was the cost of our house's mortgage. He must have been mistaken due to not having made payments in a while. But since he was telling me to leave, it hardly mattered at this point. I said, sure, thinking the mortgage is actually $5,400, and decided to leave the house. Take the dog with you too. Of course. I couldn't possibly leave Mary in such a dangerous home. Tim and Anna seemed to have lost all interest in me, caught up in their own conversation. Right, if Tim is going to take over the mortgage payments, I need to give him the joint account passbook. I went back to my room, grabbed the passbook, and headed to Tim. This account is set up for the mortgage payments. Please take care of it. Tim snatched the passbook from me eagerly and started checking it out with Anna, both snickering, probably just looking at the balance. Indeed, it's a significant amount I saved up as our family's savings. They're not even looking at the transaction history, which is what matters. Well, whatever. They can do as they please from now on. I went back to my room and packed my things, including Mary's stuff. It was more than I expected, but no problem. I don't intend to leave anything important behind in this house. Before leaving, I made a call to my son, Mark. I briefly explained the situation and decided to go to his place. And with that, I left the home I had lived in for 30 years. Leaving this way was honestly sad and frustrating. But at this moment, I didn't want to spend another second there. When I arrived at Mark's place by taxi, he came down to greet me. Seeing him help with the luggage, I felt proud of how much he's grown. "Mom, you've worked hard. Take it easy today." His kind words almost made me tear up. I took Mark's offer and rested well that day. The next evening, I received a call from Ryan. He must have finished work and gotten home. "Mom, you're at Mark's place? I heard from him. Sorry, it's because I brought Anna over, isn't it? I'm really sorry." I could sense Ryan deeply apologizing over the phone. Being gentle, he probably couldn't stand up to Anna. His subdued behavior whenever he came home every 2 weeks was likely to ensure he got his salary from her. I'm fine. But, Ryan, have you seen Anna? How was she? Ryan hesitated for a moment. Then, he said, Mom, I have something I want to talk about. Can I come over now? As if he had made up his mind. That night, Ryan, Mark, and I talked. Many things became clear. No more doubts, it's time to divorce Tim. I felt bad for Ryan, but I thought a devil-like wife had come into our lives. Observing everything. Just as I suspected, Anna turned out to be truly wicked. Months passed, and her belly never grew. Since the day she came back from the hospital, her skin was tanned. Seems like she can't stay away from her friends, alcohol, and cigarettes. Using her youth and beauty, she charmed Tim easily. Tim, too, was shockingly simple in being enchanted by Anna. At some point, he just loved younger women. I understand, I'm not young anymore, and I've changed since those days. More wrinkles, more aches. Yet, I thought we'd grow old together. Just like that home. Having a fickle nature is a loss. You, who can't finish anything responsibly, are suited for endless hell. Especially with your beloved young devil by your side. Let both of you fall into hell together. It's been about 2 months since I left the house. Lately, my work's been going well. It looks like I can expect good numbers again this month. I decided to take a break, and just then, my phone rang. The screen displayed Tim. I had been expecting a call around this time, but I wished it wouldn't come on such a good day. Still, since it was important, I pressed the answer button. Hello, what's up? Before I could finish asking what was wrong, a shout came from the other end. Hey! I don't know what's going on, but I'm being pressured to pay the house mortgage. I'm supposed to be paying it monthly, something's wrong. Did you do something? Just as I thought, it was about the mortgage payment. There's no way Tim could afford a $5,400 payment when he thinks it's only $1,400. He must have quickly spent all the savings I left behind. I haven't done anything, you know? More importantly, have you been properly depositing your salary for living expenses and repayment amounts? If you did, there wouldn't be any need for pressure to repay. I stated the obvious. Tim, guilty as charged, didn't retort immediately. But after thinking it over, he attacked again. I made sure to leave money behind. I left $4,200 for 3 months, which is definitely enough for the payments. So, there's no way the repayment should be falling behind now. Oh, brother, he still hadn't realized. I thought he would at least glance over the account details. I let out a sigh too big to count. Continuing this conversation over the phone seemed pointless. All right. I'll come over tonight. Ryan and Mark will join us. Wait with Anna. When I said that, Tim reluctantly agreed. Before I knew it, Ryan and Mark were beside me. They seemed to have a rough idea of the situation. They nodded towards me. And I nodded back firmly, then we headed to Tim and Anna's place. The first to rush out was Anna. Ryan! Where have you been without coming back here? And quitting your job, what's that about? I got you that job through a contact, don't mess around. She started yelling like a banshee as soon as the door opened, causing not just Ryan, but Mark and I to recoil a bit. Ryan calmed her down, and we all entered the house. I was shocked when we got to the living room. It was far dirtier than when I lived there. Clothes were scattered everywhere, leftover food was left out. Shelves were dusty, and tiny flies buzzed around. Ryan, sitting Anna down on the sofa, had a firm, husbandly demeanor unlike his usual gentle self. Anna, about what you said earlier. You said you asked a contact to get me the job, but I never asked for it, right? I wanted to stay at my previous job. Somehow I was made to quit and ended up at the new one without my say. I tried to do my best thinking it was what you wanted, but I always felt uneasy. Ryan explained that he reluctantly agreed to change jobs because Anna wanted a better salary. But he realized the pay wasn't much better for the hard work. And later, it was even reduced. The company gave unsatisfactory reasons like rising fuel costs, which only increased his distrust. Mark found out the reduced amount was going to Anna. Being from a contacts company, such things were possible. If you had just told me, I would have welcomed using it for living expenses. But Anna, you also demanded living expenses and hospital fees from me. What did you use that money for? I can't trust Anna anymore. Ryan spoke with quiet anger but looked somewhat sad. I felt an overwhelming urge to hug Ryan right then. What? It's just money. Do you know how lucky a boring guy like you is to marry me? Contribute some money. Yeah, you're so dull it's depressing to have you around. That's why I wanted you to change jobs to that company where you're away more. I thought I married a man who'd do anything I say, but you're the worst. Anna retorted, completely unapologetic for hurting Ryan. Mark and I almost leaped forward, wishing we could slap her in Ryan's place. My fists trembled slightly. Enough with the marital spat. My issue is more important. Holly, like I said, I had left enough for 3 months of payments. Tim finally spoke up after being silent since we arrived. Continuing our phone conversation. 3 months, huh? Then you should have left at least $16,200. At my words, Tim's eyes widened. What? The mortgage is $1,400 a month, right? Anna said so. The repayment for a house mortgage is usually about $1,400. That misinformation, it seems, was disseminated by Anna. Anna was nodding vigorously next to Tim. Yeah. My friend even said they bought a condo with a monthly payment of $1,300 to $1,500, saying it's the same as paying rent. I felt bad for bursting Anna's bubble, but this is a detached house where Tim was quite particular about the interior and layout, plus it's not even close to being cheap given its location away from the station. Tim had borrowed up to the limit he could afford and built this house on a 35-year mortgage. Hey, did you even look at the bank statement? There's no way the monthly payment for this house is only $1,400. At my words, Tim hastily pulled out the notification. Anna peeked over from the side. What? The repayment is $5,400? Tim turned pale and dropped the passbook. He should have double-checked when buying the house. Do people forget if they neglect payments over 30 years? Exactly, so $4,200 doesn't even cover 1 month. I couldn't help but smile. He mentioned leaving only $4,200, but I'll ask about the rest of the money I saved later. Wait. I wasn't told about this. Tim said I could get this house with a $1,400 monthly payment. Anna's words sent shivers down my spine. And surely I wasn't the only one. Ryan looked at them with an unexpectedly cold expression. What are you going to do? Can you pay? If you want to continue living in this house, you have to pay. And just so you know, we have no intention of paying for a house we're not living in, so don't count on us. Ryan and Mark nodded at my words. Then Tim questioned me. Wait a minute. How have you been paying a $5,400 mortgage until now? A housewife like you couldn't possibly pay that much. After 30 years together, Tim still didn't understand me. It's quite disappointing. Mom's been running an e-commerce site. It's quite popular, didn't you know? Now, I'm helping her with the product photography, and my brother handles the accounting. Yes, I've been running an e-commerce site from home for quite some time. It's been well received, and recently I started selling pet goods, inspired by Mary. Thanks to my son's help, the business is doing even better. Tim looked at me, unable to believe my earnings. Hearing all this, Anna raised her voice. Wait, Ryan! You're supposed to be on my side, right? We're living together, aren't we? If you're earning so well, then you should pay the remaining mortgage. Anna's remark had Tim chiming in with agreement. What an unbelievable father, pushing mortgage payments onto his son. Ryan, however, remained calm and said to Anna, "Anna, you introduced me to a job that keeps me away for long periods, right? What were you doing during the 2 weeks I was gone? Did you take care of the house, prepare meals, do anything useful?" "No, you didn't. And besides..." Ryan stopped mid-sentence and laid out several photos on the table. The photos showed Anna walking intimately with an unknown man in a busy street, including entering a hotel. "What is this? It's fabricated. You're framing me with this." Anna grabbed the photos from the table and started tearing them up. "Sorry, but those are film photos. Can't fabricate those." Mark, a professional photographer, prefers film cameras and doesn't use digital ones for personal commitment. "At first, I thought I mistook someone else for you in the busy street, but then I saw you again on a different day. My brother was worried, so I couldn't help but take the shot." Anna glared at Mark as he explained. Ryan, without changing his expression, told Anna in an emotionless voice, "Anna, let's end this. We're getting a divorce." At Ryan's words, Anna screamed. "What? Ryan, you dare dictate to me? I'm glad to be rid of a gloomy man like you." Anna, though beautiful and stylish, was unfortunately lacking in personality and intelligence. She probably wouldn't understand even if we explained that she was at fault. It's a waste of time to convince her ourselves, so we'll have a lawyer explain it in detail. There's more we need to confront Anna about. "By the way, Anna, you weren't really pregnant, were you?" Anna's face contorted at the mention. "Anna, you've been here for 5 months, but your figure hasn't changed at all. And consuming alcohol and cigarettes every night is a bit much, don't you think?" Anna's face became increasingly rigid. And with a completely stiffened face, she retorted, "What? It's just a little lie, right? Why get so mad? You got to dream about having a grandchild. That must have made you a bit happy, right? I mean, I'm actually glad Ryan never had a child." Hearing Anna say that, I nearly raised my hand in anger. Her disregard for people's feelings was infuriating. Looking at Ryan, I noticed he seemed calmer than expected. Perhaps he had sensed Anna's lie. "You said you were hospitalized and took money from Mom for that, right? That could potentially be fraud," Mark added, to which Anna objected. "I was really hospitalized. Not for pregnancy, but for another illness." Despite her claim, no one believed her. Especially since we had confirmed through Anna's social media that she had been on a vacation to Hawaii during the so-called hospitalization. Her tanned skin was evidence of that. She must have thought I, an older woman, wouldn't use social media. Which was amusingly naive. While we were confronting Anna, Tim sipped his tea as if he was an outsider to this mess. It was about time for Tim to face his consequences as well. "So, what are you going to do? Are you going to live in this house?" Tim, as if he had a brilliant idea, suggested to me. "I can't pay the $5,400. If you guys won't help, how about we sell the house? It could fetch millions. It's in my name, so it's my money, right? Then I'll use that money to find a new place. Sounds like a great plan, doesn't it?" I almost admired Tim for his shallow thinking. I explained to Tim in terms he could understand. "Tim, the mortgage still has 6 years left, roughly $400,000, right? Let's say this house is worth $600,000. If we sell it, we only get $200,000. Understand? And that $200,000 will be split between us in the divorce. So, you might get $100,000. But I'll be claiming money from you. So, in the end, you'll be left with very little money." Tim seemed unsure if he grasped the explanation. Probably overwhelmed by where to start asking. "What? What's property division?" "Indeed, it's a term of interest." I simply replied. "Yes, because we're divorcing." Tim's face twitched for a moment. I figured it'd be hard for him to articulate what's next, so I decided to spell it out. "You've been introducing your model friends to your friends, right? It's trendy among young girls to go out with older men and get allowances, isn't it? You and Anna had a win-win situation. Did you know that there were mixers happening in this living room with older men and models at night? As I spoke, both Tim and Anna paled, clearly hitting a nerve. Yet Anna, resilient as ever, contested. Don't make stuff up. There's no evidence of that. I presented the evidence as requested. It was footage from a pet camera in the living room, which I had thought I turned off when I left. Somehow, it got turned on, likely by someone drunk, and to my surprise, sent me footage of Tim and his older friends partying with young women in our living room. This footage is from the pet camera for Mary. I thought I turned it off when I left. Someone must have accidentally turned it on. I was shocked to suddenly receive such footage. The camera, intended to check on Mary via smartphone, inadvertently provided proof of the misconduct. Oh, Dad. By the way, I caught you and a young girl entering a hotel in the entertainment district on camera. I really didn't want to take such photos of you. With all evidence laid out, Tim and Anna had nothing to counter. They sank deeper into the sofa, their gaze distant as if attending their own funeral. The living room, meant for family gatherings, now resembled a wake. I wondered what the house, built 30 years ago with so much hope, thought of its crumbling family now. In the silence, the creaking of the house could be heard. It was clear Tim couldn't pay off the mortgage. Maybe he wanted to see what decision he would make in the end. Tim proposed selling the house. Showing his attachment was only superficial. Perhaps he had lost interest in the house and the family when he stopped contributing financially. Maybe I should have divorced him sooner. Now, it's unclear. Oh, there's a scratch on the wall. I'll fix it later. The house became mine after I paid off the remaining mortgage in full and changed the deed into my name, transforming it from Tim's house into mine. I have always taken great pride in the deep affection I've poured into this home, so the option to sell it was simply unthinkable for me. Tim seemed to want to sell the house until the very end, to keep a bit of money in hand, but I firmly refused. After all, he had been quite reckless with his spending. It was time he learned a bit about saving. The savings we had as shared property apparently vanished into expenses for his young female companions. I heard through the grapevine that he's now living in a small place. Currently, the house has undergone slight renovations to serve as both my office and home. Ryan and Mark are also living here with me, helping with my work. They've become indispensable ACE staff rather than just helpers. Mom, could you check this? Ryan has taken over accounting, leveraging his certifications. Anna and Ryan officially divorced through a lawyer. Ryan ignored her nonsense till the very end. There could have been legal implications for lying about being pregnant and taking money from me. But since her parents repaid the amount I gave, I didn't pursue charges. Kind Ryan regretted not being able to give me grandchildren. Let's take a break, Ryan, Mark. We sat on the lawn in the garden, enjoying the nice weather. We used to sunbathe in the garden when the boys were little. I'm the happiest right now. I blurted out, and the boys laughed together. We planted a small sapling in the garden, symbolizing a new beginning and wishing for future happiness. Mary chased around the sapling with interest. I wonder what the boys, and Mary will be like when this sapling grows big. I stopped pondering and decided not to think about it because I feel happy now. My sons waved at me from the balcony window. And Mary looked at their faces and barked cutely. It's another beautiful day today. I am happy now.